Black Hawk Rescue Mission 5 sucks major gorilla dick. Right off the bat, I'm disliked for copying Donkey for this format and shitting on Platinum 5's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Unfortunately, you guys, I have to speak my piece. The world is still the same before I speak on it, and the world isn't going to be very different right after. But to say to my face, it's a Roblox game, what do you expect? It's a complete insult to the highest quality Roblox games in the market themselves, even the most blatantly cash-grabby ones. You have to realize that at the end of the day, this is a public platform, and I want to say what I want to say. And I say BRM5 is also trying to take itself seriously. So I'm gonna take it seriously. Let's start off with the most blatant aspect of the game that I think everybody could agree with, the Ubisoft filler. This new operation is genuinely insulting no matter how gratifying the combat loop is. And while I'm happy Plat 5 recognized it and pushed it down to 72, the intel limit should have probably been anywhere between 30 to 50. But even then, my suggestion is pushing it. This is a complete insult to anyone who has played something even more moderately financed than BRM5. Basing your fucking main gameplay around collecting things scattered across the map makes Riddler trophies seem like a goddamn saint. And scattering them so far out from the base with these ranking and cash restrictions on vehicles, it makes the whole process discomforting and downright abysmal. I cannot stress how stupid it is that I can have enough cash on hand to buy a chopper, but I don't even have the XP for it. So I need to just drive a shitty 1-star truck 6k feet away from the stupid fob just to shit on badly coded NPCs. And by the end of it, 9k or nearly 10k because there's no helicopter pickup, so fuck you if you're a solo player. On top of the now currently 72 Intel Collectathon, you have these abhorrent RNG mechanics. Sometimes people will drop intel and sometimes people just fucking won't. Like, they won't drop shit. Even during the reinforcement phase, this literally causes people to just turn back, fly their asses out of the area, then come back to the area knowing everyone is respawned. And that's just not gameplay. That is not fucking gameplay in the slightest. That is taking advantage of an exploit and a continued developer oversight. If any of you idiots have the audacity to say, so what's your solution? I'd say bring back raid missions and have 70% of the focus there. It would make this still insultingly bad and underwhelming operation much more passable. And passable in a free-to-play game I can handle just fine. Right now, I feel ripped off, and I didn't even pay a single Bobuck to these fucking morons. I get where they're taking this from, though. If it worked with Ghost Recon Wildlands, it should work with us, right? Well, the areas weren't so pitch black to the point I couldn't see worth dick in that game. And the areas I fought in varied way more than just a bunch of towns, a quarry, a shithole, and a mountain, and a fort. Hell, I even did more, and I saw more. If you made the map as big as their in-game depiction of Bolivia, everyone would drop like flies because their PC couldn't run it. Like, Roblox fucks with your CPU enough as it is, but it was still meaningful. More often than not, those Intel Collectathons and Wildlands lit the way to cutscenes. Additional story files that would layer the plot and the region with even more details about Santa Blanca, the head honchos, the people, the intrinsic planning that each and every single one of these sites make, the people you kill, all of this turning into a complete and utter original clusterfuck that was enjoyable as much as it was annoying. But what do we get in BRM5? Nothing. You gotta go to the fucking wiki for that. The side missions are also written by people who never cared enough about the meaningful story beats BRM5 had potential to make. It's kind of like After the Flash to a degree, even though they're like completely different things. But still, BRM5 expressively states that it was based on a roleplay series, therefore insinuating a lot of stories and memories to be made, which I, as an OG who has been there ever since the first game looked like a toddler's Halloween daydream 10 years ago, have had plenty of those that could be incorporated among dozens of other people. Unfortunately, everybody in this fucking game is just one-dimensional to shit. The only meaningful character we ever got, KP, was still killed off completely, and we haven't seen anyone like him since. The only meaning you can give to any of these characters right now is if you give Isabel to an RR34 animator, and even then, the motherfuckers in that comment section, they'd go, who? I doubt KP suddenly resuscitating would do the game any favors because it's already been long enough for new players to not really know much about him at all. People still have the audacity to tell me, even after I say this, that there's so many side quests. Like if there was layers upon layers of lore waiting for you, like cassette tapes in MGS5. But that's just not fucking true. Are you kidding me? These shitheads play out the same. Please go to this location. Kill these assholes. Take pictures. Hey, how about you deliver this shit for me because we're playing Death Stranding with cars now? Hi, hello. Go over to this area and kill someone for me. Hey, I need you to rescue some civilians that have horrible pathfinding and will even run upstairs instead of downstairs after you to your car. They are literally Ubisoft open world checklist missions. What the actual hell is wrong with these people, and who is responsible for this shit? Money-hungry bandit beater anime games have more impactful NPC quests than this. But you can ask more about them and what's up.
You can do better than that.
The PvP is probably one of the more higher points of the game, but even that's debatable. The round-based modes are suffering from a complete content drought. It plays like baby's first Call of Duty and Siege. And on top of that, it's the second Roblox game featuring an AA-12 that completely disrupts the flow of gameplay. Fuck you, Phantom Forces. Now they're implementing BattleBit/Squad in this new game mode called Skirmish. And with the laser accurate hipfire and rocket launchers that seem to just wreak unbelievable havoc on the map, I think it's safe to say that even after it leaves the beta, it's just going to give BattleBit or the upcoming Delta Force Battlefield Clone Edition a run for its money. If you play BRM 5 for the PvP and the PvP only, I wouldn't blame you if you had an awful work computer. But it's still hitting your head against the wall over and over again. 9 maps over the course of 4 years is genuinely pathetic. One game mode is even worse. The bugs in this game also gives Watch Dogs Legion, Starfield, Saints Row, fucking Bubsy 3D a kick in the ass with the amount of crazy shit that happens. I don't think it needs reiterating when some unironic degenerate moron thinks dumbass bullet sponge enemies suddenly grouped up in a laggy bunker makes it challenging. This game is completely developed by monkeys, and I'm holding this dickhead responsible for it. Everything wrong with Roblox Anthem CinemaSin style? Motherfucker, I am challenging you to destroy your own game piece by piece. Please make another one of these videos and admit that it was actually made by a gay rattlesnake. Lastly, I want to talk about the game's identity. Old heads will remember it as a solid blend between gameplay and roleplay in a zombie-infested shithole. And while the gameplay loop wasn't 100% better than BRM5 in its current state, it had far more soul and much less of this Wildlands intel hunting cycle. It was practically banking on being anything but a shitty collectathon. It was another zombie game, but it was still the most wonderful thing. In fact, there's still people playing this shit, even though a lot of the time it barely touches 100 people. When you think Black Hawk Rescue Mission during the 2010s, you would normally think, holy crap, you mean that kind of repetitive but also pretty fun and endlessly replayable zombie extraction game that did it better than Back 4 Blood even though that hasn't come out yet? You would. But now when you think Black Hawk Rescue Mission, you think Arma, Battlefield, Call of Duty. What the fuck, Platinum 5? And you're only now doing a zombies mode? I'm sure if it comes out, it'll bring back old heads from all around, but at the end of the day, the damage is unforgettable. I'll give BRM5 a 91%, because I'm a fucking idiot.